So then we are back with the more understandings from the time of the second tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Tzayelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end. As per Yeshayahu the prophet, then we find the cities of the Messiah laid waste for many centuries, and the cities of the Messiah are then returning. However, the world is yet entangled with the time of the seat. Some nations are, some nations are not. So then, understanding from the viewpoint of the Messiah of the time of reduction, and then from Yeshayahu the prophet restoration, what can we expect of the nations then as far as taxation is concerned? There are many governments that make themselves very important while not taxing. It's not going to work. Because the Messiah said precisely, give to the government what belongs to the government, and give to God what belongs to God. There is no other option. Our government, unfortunately, is set for failure if we do not get taxation then exact. We have 36 months to get the job done, and if we don't get it done, our nation is going to get ruined. This time, we are not speaking of a pastor, teacher, evangelist speaking junk and garbage for decades. We are speaking of tabernacling, the very purpose and the core of the entire salvation plan from the Creator Himself, via His set-apart people, then Gentiles, relationship with the holy cities, and then time of restoration. This time, our nation is not going to get away from. It's not a threat. It's simply stating the importance of the exacting understandings of the prophecies. No person can manipulate the prophecy. So when the time comes, then the time comes. But then we must prepare ourselves so then we don't get caught as then Pharaoh would get caught. He would have, for sure, he would have got caught if then Joseph wouldn't have prepared then the nation. So then, being wise from a Gentile level, it is required for us then to tax instant taxation. So then, let's understand what the Messiah has said regarding this time of restoration. The prophet already spoke, and then we find then Galah, or Revelation chapter 1:8. It does not belong there. It does not belong to the autumn feast. So when you read the document of Revelation, you have to take out chapter 1:8. It doesn't belong in the autumn feast. The translators, when they were translating the many Megillas, they were translating part of it. They did not understand where it was coming from. They made a mistake. But then we go around watching these ridiculous pastors talking junk and garbage for so many decades, and they didn't ever understand that they were reading a section of Revelation that doesn't belong there. Chapter 1:8 belongs to the time of restoration. From the time Yohanan received the holy instructions regarding then the autumn feast, there was a preparation of the holy cities for the first 1,000 years, and we are yet continuing from the time of the first holy city where Yohanan was at. Then those 7 cities were straightened out. Then became the whole relationship with the holy cities and Gentiles. Then we find, prior of the sounding of the shofars, then chapter 1:8. It is pertaining to the time of restoration. So the Messiah then saying to his people, come out of them, my people, so you are not destroyed with them. He's explaining of the system yet coming. It doesn't mean it's evil. But then indulging themselves, they set apart, not doing tabernacling. Any other system is regarded as Babylon. So let's understand it from the perspective of tabernacling. The set apart are dedicated to tabernacling. Is there tabernacling in the land of Israel? Absolutely not. It's a cursed piece of land. Has brought our nation to ruin because there is no tabernacling in Israel. So then when the first tabernacle then shows up in the northern Sudan, then we understand why. Because the southern kingdom, Africa, is going to be then the southern kingdom because of its riches. Read the instructions. The continent of Africa used to be then the kingdom of Nubia on the northern side. They conquered Egypt. They were from the time of the black pharaohs. That's why then Africa is going through a lot of their own culture going on around the world, because they understand there is something is brewing. And they understand that this something is the pharaohship of their time is coming, because they are going to become the southern king. Kingdom of the south. Vast reaches beyond human understanding. But then there are external forces outside of Africa where then the Africans can't do what they want. So then requires tabernacling to manage the so many powers outside of Africa, and then the southern kingdom requires tabernacling. Otherwise then people destroy each other because of the abundance of riches. There is so much of it, a person can go crazy because of so many riches going on in the land of Africa. It does not mean the holy city is going to control Africa. But they can give perspectives of future events so then Africans can understand what's coming. As far as how they're going to handle it, they have to go from A to Z on their own. But they understand a factor of the future is taking place, so then they take the proper measures. We understand there is a system coming from the east, we have to take measures. Only because the U.S. government then inflates its chest and walks around as big shots does not change the situation. If we do not tax, they can have as many big shots they want then walking around. They are not going to intimidate the people, and they are not going to intimidate other countries. Because we are speaking of a principle where the Messiah has said, give to the government taxation. Then the government is not doing what they should be doing. They are not speaking with the freighters. They are not having a deal, for instance, with the UPS, FedEx, and the other freighter companies. You know, could we make a deal every time there is a printing of a label of yours? Could we then deduct the taxes from there? Could we work a deal with the factories, make sure then they place over there the proper price, so then tax can be deducted? It is understandable when a person is buying bulk, must be charged taxes. As far as when the item then is sold, then there is what you paid for at the first, and then what you sold for at the last, and then there is a compensation or then an adjustment that must be done, and another set of taxes should be charged. They make sure the 10% that belongs to the government goes to the government. But then Daniel the prophet was explaining that at the time of the end, we understand there is a transitional time. We understand that he was a politician. Daniel was a politician, a tradesperson. And the Messiah later was emphasizing, as far as purchasing is concerned, they have to charge taxes. USA is not going to be intimidating around when we understand 36 months in the future we are going to be broken. The nation can only work with the freighters and then deduct the taxes. We have 36 months to get the job. To get these situations then situated, exacting 10%, so then the government can manage its expenses. We should have last year having a deal with the Chinese so then they could take on patrols. Now we purchased then the war over there with Israel and Palestine. We should have let them deal with themselves. Then we gave them money as if they were playing with the military arms. Then the Prime Minister of Israel, scoundrel as he is, has no shame on the face, has dragged our president over there, going through the same novel, Holocaust, garbage. Because these repetitions of Holocaust is truly, it gets on the nerves of the people. We are aware of those situations of the Second World War, and people are studied. They don't have to be reminded every time. And then rather than having a proper wisdom over there, what do we get? We pick a fight with Iran while giving more of our money since we are bankrupt, furthering down. We've got nothing to do with Israel. That's a damn cursed piece of land. Because the Messiah has come out as tabernacling outside of the damn place. It's cursed. That place over there is cursed. It's only valid when there is tabernacling. No tabernacling, there is no value. We do understand in the future the land is going to be cleared away. But then the Ishmaelites of the first son, they are going to be there and make sure only the tabernacle of the desert then is on the mountain. Because the Messiah said, I don't want your temple. Not a stone is going to be left upon another man to what you have whether it's garbage. And for us then in the United States, walking around, then inflating our chests, walking around as big shots, ridiculous. Only right on the forehead, idiot, or idiots. Because we are not doing what the Messiah told us to do. Not because you are hearing, it's because the consequences of not doing what the Messiah said to do. You're not stupid because somebody's saying you are stupid. It's because there is a principle not yet completed. We must charge taxes or then we go under. The government already prepared oil arcs over there because they know they're going under. So then if we don't charge taxes properly for the next 36 months, other than idiot or stupid, what would be then the category? Idiot, stupid? Combination of them both? We've got to start taxing. So then, are the freighters going to be in charge of our country? How are they going to manage? A couple of years ago then, IMF already predicted it would take 5 years and then our monetary system wouldn't hold any longer. 24 months is gone. We have 36 left to get the job then taken care of and get taxation exact standards. As we understand, Australia is going through a huge change in their government, lining up with the Asian market. The PM lady over there decided that she should have a special person from the government only in charge of trades with the Asians. It's extremely wise because they understand there is a system coming in the future. And it's coming through their side because they are in the Pacific. They are in line with the Pacific Asian market and they are coming through. Can we avoid the panic coming in the future? If we don't tax it properly, this nation is going to be ruined. Because there are steps of formation where we can't violate normal standards of normal events. Not taxing properly means not enough revenue. If you print out more money, then comes a point where the market doesn't hold anymore. The Messiah has said, then freighters are going to be in charge. What do you understand of freighters? You understand parcels? Are we charging then taxes of each parcel coming through? Absolutely not. There's a huge amount of parcels coming from overseas. They are not charged. Are we doing what the Messiah said to do? No, we are not. So then we can categorize ourselves as stupid. There is no other category. There is no more rationalization because the rationale was already calculated by IMF and they said 5 years, 2 years ago. 36 months is left. Is the job done? No. The same old scoundrels in the government playing around, enjoying each other's incompetence until the system gets ruined. And then because they have so much money, they're going underground. The problem is how they're going to spend their money when then the money ruins. They have to turn to farming. Because they won't have a monetary system with value. Because of the Asian market making it themselves then neutral from amongst the nations.